There we go. Ah, technical difficulties this morning. Hey, what's up, Arvin? Sorry, guys. I apologize for being late this morning. I just missed the alarm, or I have no idea. I honestly don't know. I woke up, it was 4:45, and that was that. How are you guys doing? Good? You guys see my live counter on my prompt? I finished that yesterday. That's probably why I overslept, because I stayed up way too late working on that. I mean, it wasn't really that late. It was like 11 p.m., but looks like a noob and Lamp are here. What's about that sound? Feels like you just woke up. Yeah, I literally, yeah. Well, most mornings it's like, so like most mornings I wake up at 4 o'clock and I start the stream at 4:15. So like almost every morning I stream, I've just woken up. See if this now that we have one viewer. There we go. It's working, man. It's working. That's pretty cool. That was a fun little project we did yesterday. Let's see. All right. So, what are we gonna do today? I think today we're probably going to work more on Casper. Just you and me. Yep. Sometimes those are the better streams, though. You know, when it's just a few of us. Just a few of us OGs. Oh. Alright. Time to write code, huh? Sorry, I got distracted by my phone. Oh, somebody messaged me in Discord. Okay. CD Casper. And oh, now we have 7 viewers. Man, that's so cool. Actually, I can show you guys how I made this. This was actually kind of fun to make. I feel like it was way more complicated than it needed to be, though. All right. So actually, the bulk of that functionality is pretty simple. So it's literally I boiled it down to like these. What is that? 10 lines of code. Yeah, 10 lines of code. But there's a lot of implementation here. So the biggest headache. I woke up recently as well. Spent 1 hour consuming brain rot on YT. Nice. Nothing wrong with some brain rot every now and then, as long as it's not like all of your diet, right? It's the same thing with food. You know, you can have some junk food every now and then, right? As long as it's not everything you eat. Okay, so I thought this was going to be actually really simple to implement yesterday, and then we ran into an issue where basically there's no way to authorize your requests against the YouTube API without signing in as a user. So you basically have to use an OAuth flow to make requests against the YouTube API to get user data, which is kind of annoying, but like why does half of the world think that API keys are secure and then like the other half thinks they're not secure, and nobody seems to care that there's a huge divide. Just give me an API key. Okay, so how this works is you basically, the first thing you have to do is you have to load in our app settings. And so our app settings essentially are basically everything we need in order to make a proper request to get the um, access token. That's essentially what our app settings are. So where's that model, if I can find it? So this is what our settings are. We have our client ID, we have a client secret, we have a redirect URI. That's basically how we get the OAuth code back, right? The code that allows us to request an access token. Then we have a token URI, an auth URI, and the scopes that we want to use. This is like, I'm sure if you've implemented OAuth, you're familiar with a lot of these things. The client ID and the client secret you get from the Google Cloud Console when you set up your client. The redirect URI is just going to be based off wherever you expect Google to send to redirect the user to. In my case, I'm just redirecting it to a local URI. I think I picked localhost 6767. And then the token URI, the auth URI, that comes from Google. They tell you where to send those requests. So the auth URI is what's used to actually have the user, it basically prompt the user to actually consent to permissions. We have our scopes. And then once we load in those settings, that's when the real work begins. That's the first thing we do, is we try to get our token. And that's a little convoluted, but what we're doing is we're essentially caching the token or persisting the token response to a file on disk, so I can use offline mode. So when you're using the Google API, when you're doing OAuth with them, they basically have this ability to either you can ask for access token, you can ask the user to consent, and then you can request an access token every time that you need to do something once your access token expires, or you can request to have what they call offline mode. And in offline mode, they give you a refresh token that you can then use whenever the access token expires. So that's why we're persisting the file to the disk. So if the token response path doesn't exist, meaning that file has never been created, meaning this is the first time we've ever run this little script, then we will just go ahead and get the access token. Otherwise, we'll load the token response from disk, and then we'll try to check to see if the existing token response has actually expired, right? So if the access token that we've persisted to disk is expired, then we will try to refresh the token. So that's kind of basically the two paths we have. The very first time we run this, we'll make the user consent. We'll actually start the browser, ask the user to log in, and then from then on out, we'll try to refresh the token. And then once we've got our token, we can then do what we actually want to do, which is get the live viewer count. And that's super simple. This is all the code that we wrote yesterday. If you were here on stream yesterday, we wrote all this code yesterday, and we got all the way down to the part where we actually were making the request. And then Steven realized he was going to have to implement an OAuth flow to make this work. So, yeah, there's that. So I guess I can show you guys this in action, huh? Let's see. I think I'll have to. So first of all, we can see it in action here because it was 7, and now it says 43, which is pretty cool. And it only shows up. So this segment will only show up when my command or my script up top actually returns a value. So if my script up top just returns a empty string, then it won't show a value. That's just how Oh-My-Posh works. But if I delete the token response, right? If I delete this, I actually don't know if this is going to work. So just bear with me. This may. I tested this last night before bed and everything was fine. So I'm going to try this again. So if I delete this, and I think if I just refresh my prompt, it opens my browser, right? So this is the OAuth flow. And so now I'm consenting to my application. And so now you can see it's saying, hey, you can close this window now, which is cool. And now I have that token response on disk right here. And I think if I do clear again on my terminal, we can see the viewer count again now. So that's pretty cool, huh? Right? The reason why it doesn't show up immediately is because the way Oh-My-Posh runs your script, it actually spawns a new process, and I think it returns control to the main process before I actually complete the OAuth flow. So that's a little janky, but you really only have to do that initial consent the first time, and then you're pretty much good, because you're always just using the refresh token after the fact. And then how I wire this up to my Oh-My-Posh config is actually pretty straightforward. So if you're an Oh-My-Posh user, this probably is interesting to you. If you're not an Oh-My-Posh user, you probably don't give a fuck. Okay, so let me go back to my terminal, or to my, to Windows terminal. And we're gonna say, show me, let's see, OneDrive, desktop, Oh-My-Posh. So this is the actual configuration file that describes the segments in my prompt. I won't belabor all these segments, but the segment that we added to get that viewer count is basically this segment right here. So Oh-My-Posh supports this segment type of command, and command lets you then define a shell that you want to use to run your command, and then the actual command you want to run. So in this case, I'm using .NET, and then I'm passing it the file I want to run, or the path to the file I want to run, and we're off to the races. And then of course I'm setting a cache of 30 seconds, so that way we're not having to get the viewer count. Like if I am entering a lot of commands on the terminal successively, we're not fetching the viewer count every single time I enter every command. And then the strategy session just means, hey, this cache applies to my user session in the terminal. It doesn't apply. The other strategy you can apply here is for the directory that you're working in. So Oh-My-Posh will actually cache this for the when you move around folders, it will bust the cache essentially. And then this is my template. So this is how I get the YouTube symbol to display. And then the output from my script is appended on there. Yeah, it's pretty. I think it was a nifty little idea. It's cool to see an idea you have. See, so now you can see like how fast my prompt responds. That's because right now the cache is still being hit, but after 30 seconds, then I'll fetch a new viewer count. So that was a super fun project. I had that idea on Friday night, or not Friday night, Monday night, Sunday night. I don't know, what day is it? I had that idea Sunday night while I was watching the Packers-Steelers game. Then Monday morning we came in, we tried to implement it, and then I finished implementing it Monday evening, and now we have viewer counts in the terminal. There's nothing, I'll tell you, there's nothing, and I'm sure you guys will agree, there's nothing better than having an idea for something and then finally seeing it like in the world, or seeing it actually working, or something that you can actually interact with or use. This is the best part about being able to code. Best part. Excuse me. Okay, back to the main. After our brief fling with the terminal viewer count, we got to go back to back to the main project here. We got to get. We only have let's see, 29, 28, 29, 30, 30. We only have 4 days more that we have to work on this, because as soon as November 1st hits, we're becoming Go developers, everyone. That's what we're doing. For the whole month of November and most of the month of December, we're going to be writing Go. Arvin, having an idea and build it yourself. Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's one of the coolest things about, think about other things that you'd want to build in your life. Want to build a house. Can't do that by yourself. Want to come up with a product and manufacture it and commercialize it. Can't do that by yourself. You know what I mean? But like, code is one of those things where you don't really need permission from anybody. You really don't need much money at all, right? Compute's relatively cheap, relatively available. Your local library probably can give you access to a computer where you can run basic terminal commands, right? Probably some limitations there, but code is really one of those only things in the world where you can have a pretty complex, pretty powerful idea for something, and you can manifest it just through your own abilities, right? Through your no dependencies on anyone else, which is really cool. Someone out there is like, okay, guy, it's just code. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I guess I'm just saying, if you're someone who likes to build things, if you're someone who has a lot of ideas, it can be very exciting to be able to bring those ideas to life without having to jump over 10,000 different hoops to get it done. Hey, what's up, Anoob? Hey, Anoob, I apologize that I woke up late, man. I didn't mean to. I did not mean to stand you up at 4:15. I honestly have no idea what happened. My eyes opened and my phone said 4:45, so that was that. I don't know if I missed my alarm or if I turned it off and then fell back asleep or what, but I'm here now though. But I apologize if you were sitting around earlier waiting for me. We have one more test right here. Don't worry, it's okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's one benefit. If I get up, if I start the stream early over here and you guys are in a different time zone, then it's not so bad if I'm late. Although for my American friends, it doesn't help anything. Okay, what are we trying to do here? Okay, we're trying to check to see if we have feedback. So, when called, response can be deserialized, or actually, when called and when called and does not have feedback. should return success. Yep. So I already wrote that yesterday. Also, now I just want to have my terminal up on screen 24/7 so I can show my viewer count. I kind of do wish that this would redraw in real time. You know, like I wish every 30 seconds the prompt would redraw itself, so that this would just update automatically. But it doesn't really work like that. It basically only executes the command whenever you. It only executes the command for the segment whenever you run a command in the terminal. So this is obviously going to get stale on us at times, but it's fun nonetheless. I'm trying not to fixate on how I can fix that. Alright, we can basically copy all of this. Excuse me. We can put that here. Set this to true. Set that to no comments. Excuse me. My nose is itching. And then we'll say this should be of success. Blog post. And this should be success here. Yep, do that. And then we'll say these two things should be equivalent. Oh, actually, I think I could just do this, can I? There we go. Jaff or Jappy? I'm not sure how you say your name. Jappy? Is that okay if I call you Jappy? Good morning. I hope you're doing well, sir. Alright, let's see if this runs. Nope, that didn't run. Why didn't that run? Expected type or success. What did we get? But got failure. Oh, this should be false. That should be false. Did it fail again? Or did it just not run? Yeah, it failed again. But it's not telling me why it failed. I don't see an error anywhere. It's weird. Arvin, daemonize it and ask AI to generate a program that displays the number on viewport as transparent background. Oh yeah, I could do that, but that's, I mean, we already have that. You know what I mean? Like I have the viewer count in like 3 different places now, and I have the viewer count. I mean, the viewer count's already on YouTube's UI for you guys. This is fun because it's in the terminal. You know what I mean? This is fun because it's in the terminal. Shib, thanks for your wishes. I nailed my information and security exam yesterday. Thanks a lot. Huge fan. Hey man, that's awesome. Congratulations. It's always awesome when you crush it on an exam. Crushing an exam is way better than failing an exam. Actually, the worst type of exam performance is when you think you are going to crush it, and then you feel like you fail, but then you find out that you did in fact crush it. That's the worst. Alright, I don't know. Let's see, this says object reference not set to an instance of an object. Oh, that's because something is being called and I'm not mocking it out properly. Yeah, I think it's this. Something in here. Let's see. Where's the test output? Test results. What line is this on? Line 55. Line 55. I forget how to use the mock file system. Let's see. Can I just do... Yeah, it's true. It is very true. It's the worst experience because then you spend your whole, you spend a week or whatever it is while you wait for your exam results thinking you completely screwed up your life because you didn't perform well, only to find out you did perform well and you worried for no reason. Excuse me. Let's see, new mock file system. Mock of file system watcher, okay. Oh, are you saying then I can just do I think I can just do this. I think I can just do var mock file system equals new mock file system. What? Tyrion, hello, how are you, man? How's your day going? My day's going good. Yeah, I cannot complain. What about you? How's your day going? My day's just getting started, though, to be fair. You know what I mean? Also, Rudy, I see your message, Rudy. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, Tyrion, my my day's going well, but I kind of have to hedge because I'm only 30 minutes into it, or yeah, 30 minutes into it at this point. It could take a turn for the worse. Okay, so then we gotta mock the individual things out. Okay, that's fine. So we'll do var mock path equals new mock of iPath, and then we basically have to set up mock path. Let's do this in the method. So this will become part of our setup for this test. So we'll say var mock path equals also copilot, please. Copilot, please stop. Stop trying to be so smart. Okay. Oh, look, we're up to 52 viewers. Good morning, everyone. How are y'all doing today? Good to see you guys. I'm pointing this out because I'm very proud of this work. I figured out how to display the viewer count as part of my terminal. It's probably one of the most nerdy things I've ever done. Okay, so we have mock path, and then we also need var mock file equals new mock file. Like that? No, I file, I think is what we want. I file. Tyrion, I'm always confused about the time zone there. Yeah, the time zones fuck with me too, Tyrion. Big time. Big time, they fuck with me. Well, it's funny because I just never thought people from a different time zone would want to watch my stream. You know, I just thought it'd be Americans, and I thought it would be very few Americans would tune into my stream. So the fact that there are people here, which is awesome, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. But the fact that these people live in different time zones, I forget about it. But I'm in the Central Standard Time, so I'm in CST, so it is currently 5:30 a.m. for me. Shib, it's really cool. Well, I thank you, Shib. I'm glad somebody appreciates my nerdy viewer count display. I'm glad someone appreciates it. Let's see. We need a setup. I think we want to do setup. I think we have to do a git setup? I don't think we have to do this, do we? But we'll do it anyway. So we'll say im and a call to im dot path returns our mock path. Cannot convert from, oh yeah, this is gonna be object, and then a call to our mock file system setup get im im.file. This returns our mock file object like this. And then down here, we really just want to add a verification. So we just want to make sure that mock path dot verify that the mock im dot combine, and we just want to verify that it was called with I mean, it really actually doesn't matter to me. It's just it needs to be called with, I guess, it is any string, and then it dot is any string. That. And then we want to verify that file, the file, so mock file. We just want to verify that we actually try to write this to disk. So this is a good example where when you're unit testing, you have to make a decision. Are you going to actually verify in your test that the file actually gets written to disk? Or are you just going to verify that your code calls the other appropriate piece of code to write it to disk, right? So in my opinion, I look at the file system as something that's sort of a third party, right? I don't have any control over the file system or what's happening with the file system from my code. So the only thing my code needs my tests need to verify is that my code does in fact call the right API to write it to diff, to avoid making assertions about things that I don't really have a lot of control over. Let's see, write all text async, and then we're going to verify that it's called with our path, and we're going to verify it's called with another string. So basically all we're doing is we're making sure that this happens. We're not making sure that the side effect, right, that the file shows up on disk, we're not making sure that happens, but we are making sure that we actually do attempt to write it. Oh, we also need to pass in the cancellation token. Oh, my doggy just showed up. Hello, Opie, good morning. How are you doing? You want to say hi to stream? Prob Hob. Hello, Steven. I started learning Python. Can you please tell me what's the difference if I write print hello world or print t hello world with a semicolon? Oh, I also learned loop. Oh, awesome, dude. Congratulations. Yeah, looping I think is the first thing you learn as part of your programming journey that kind of feels like a superpower, you know? You're like, "Wait, I can do a bunch of things. I can just iterate over a bunch of tasks." Tyrion, it's good to see you got viewers day by day. I'm here when you are talking with only 3 out of 4 people. Now seeing this progress, I'm happy about that. Well, I appreciate that, Tyrion. Yeah, right now we have, let's see, let's check our viewer count in the terminal. We have 56 fellas, or 56 fellas in girls watching. I think majority of my audience is actually, based on my YouTube analytics, majority of my audience is uh, men between the ages of 24 and 35 is the majority of my audience, according to YouTube. Obviously, YouTube could be lying to me. I actually, so going back, Prob Hob, going back to your question about print hello world or print t hello world, no bullshit design. I love that username, first off. And second off, thanks for the subscription. So, Prabhav, I don't know what print t does. I'm not a huge Python guy, but I don't know what print t does. I also don't know why you'd put a colon at the end of that line. But I guess I'm going to learn because I'm going to Google it. Let's see, what does print t do in Python? Oh, no, not print t. You said print. Oh, you're just putting a colon on the end. What does colon on end of print do in Python? I've never actually seen anybody do that. And I've never done it. A colon at the end of a line, such as after an if statement, while loop, for loop, def, or class. Well, that I know. Yeah, of course. That's how you define a block of code, but why would you put it after a print statement? Does anybody know the answer to Prabhav's question? Because I honestly don't know why you would do that. I didn't even know you could do that. Colon after print in Python. I mean, I guess I could just test it really quick. A colon is not directly, yeah, okay. So I'm not crazy. I don't think you can do that, Prabhav. I'm guessing they just made it. I'm guessing they just made a mistake, Prabhav. I think they may have just playing a joke on you. Because I think if I do that here, It's not going to work for us. Yeah, that's invalid syntax. So you can't do that. You can't put a colon at the end. But you can do if, you know, true, colon, return, hello. In which case, the colon is just a way to declare a nested block, right? Although I don't know how to... I don't know how to get out of there. I did mean true. Thank you, Python. I did mean true. So yeah. Okay. I'm not completely useless. What age did you start coding? So I'm 32 now, and I started learning how to code when I was... Well, I took my first kind of like formal coding related thing when I was in college. So I graduated college in 2015, spring of 2015, and I took computer programming 1 the fall of 2014 and computer programming 2 the spring of 2015 as like electives. So I guess that was like my first introduction to code. So I would have been like 20, I think I would have been 22, 23 at that time. 22 is, I guess, is in fall of 2014. I would have been 22. But I really got serious about it spring of 2021. So I would have been, let's see, that's almost 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago. So that would have been 28, like 27, 28-ish. Never heard of using column. What's column? What are you talking about? I missed that. Damn, I can't even learn Python no more without being bamboozled. You finished college before I entered high school? Wait, middle school. Yeah, someone the other day called me an unk on YouTube. But yeah, I'm 32, so 32-year-old dad of 2. Let's see. Expected type to be something, but found Casper console.success. Ah, yes, because I'm not actually returning the blog post. So this is just going to be success. And this is just going to be success. And I don't need to do this. Because if I get all the way here, I don't need to return the blog post. I just need to basically indicate to the workflow that we've been successful. And then I also need to verify this. I need to say mock context.verify m dot yield output, and it dot is any string, and it let's see, test context dot current dot cancellation token. Test context. All right, I think we're done with these tests. Now I think we can write some more tests. There you go. Woohoo! Looky there. Oh my goodness. Big arrow. Whoops. How do I make this? There we go. Arvin, same age as you. Nice. In few years, I will be the. Oh, in a few years, you will be the same age as me. Nice, very cool. Henry Empire, what's your motive behind learning coding? Well, at this point, I would say for the most part, I've learned how to code, right? So now I'm at more of a point in my journey where it's more about pursuing an interest in different technologies or projects, right? If there's a particular thing I want to learn or a particular new piece, like this, for example, the whole project that been building on stream for the month of October has been about learning how Microsoft agent framework works. That's been kind of the motivation behind this project that we've been working on. My original motivation for learning to code was just about my kid starting school and me wanting to make use of the time while he was in school. Al Amin, thanks for the subscription. So that was the original motivation. Now my motivation is just I really enjoy writing code. So I try to make time to do it every day, whether it be 2 or 3 hours in the morning and another 2 or 3 hours in the afternoon. I mean, obviously I write code at work too, so but I just enjoy doing it now at this point. So I just keep doing it. And then my motivation to learn things is really just driven by interest now. Interest or excuse me. Interest or relevancy, I guess. I feel like, there is something there is something to be said about having awareness about what's going on in your field and what technologies are becoming popular and what new things are being introduced and just having some general familiarity with things. You don't have to be an expert, right? But, if you're in a conversation and somebody brings up how can we integrate AI into our .NET app, it would be, it'd be nice to be able to speak to that, right? So things like that, I'll usually pick up and at least dabble, right? At least dabble. What's up, Voldemort? How are you, man? Good to see you. I love lamp. Is your audio bugged or something? Does it sound bugged? Because it looks, I mean, by all indications on my side, everything looks fine. But if you guys are telling me it sounds weird, let me know, and I'll see if I can't troubleshoot it, or at least I'll go look at the stream myself. But my levels look fine. My microphone seems to be fine. Oh, thank you, Prabhab. I always, I always start to get worried whenever somebody comments on that stuff because it's like there have been times where I've streamed by myself for 2 hours while on mute. So I do pay attention to what you guys say about the sound. Let's see. I just ate cake and you guys have been talking for ages. Is there any coincidence? I don't know. I don't get the joke, but I don't think there's a coincidence. Good. I've been looking for cool rocks in a yard. What? What kind of a pastime is that? You just walk around your yard and look for rocks? Uh, I mean, I don't want to judge, but I didn't know that was a thing people did. Yeah, he literally just describe it what a geologist does for a living, didn't he? All right. So I think what I'd like to do now is I'd like to write some integration tests. But the point of these integration tests, so I have some integration tests for my agents, right? So these basically are just smoke tests to make sure that all of the agents do what they should do. Basically, I mean, they kind of just make sure that I can send a response to the LLM and get a response back. But what I'd like to do is in my main application, in the main entry point of my application, I have this workflow. And so, yeah, right here, this workflow. And so what I'd like to do is I'd like to make sure that data flows through my workflow in the way that I would expect it to flow through. And I don't really know how to test this, but I know it should be testable. Like I should be able to wire all this up in test code and then send it messages and see how it responds. So I think what I'm going to do whenever I don't know how to test some code, typically, especially if it's code that is from a library, like in this case, this is from the workflow builder is a part of the agent framework. Typically what I'll do is I'll go look at the library code to see how they wrote their tests. That's usually where I'll start. And granted, I know not all libraries have tests, but that's usually a good place to begin your journey. So you can see they have a test folder here. So my hope is that somewhere in here, they have a test project for their workflows. Yeah, here we go. Microsoft.agents.ai.workflows.unit. See, this says workflow builder smoke test. I want to see how they actually run it though, you know, because this is basically just showing them building the workflow, but I want to see how they actually run it. Wait, you can print this out? You can print your workflow to a string? What? Is that real? Hold on. Let's try to do that really quick. That's super cool. So are you telling me if I don't call this, let's comment that out for a second. This is why sometimes it's good to go and read other people's code. So you're telling me if I do var factory equals host.services.get required service, and then if I do var workflow equals factory.create async, and then if I do console.writeLine workflow.to doc string. Huh. That doesn't seem to exist in the library. To dot string. Where does this come from? Is this new? This might be part of a new release. So you can emit a workflow diagram, you can emit a mermaid diagram. That's cool. Did this get this got added last week? to dot string. So why don't... Maybe I just don't have the right using statement in here. Okay, let's try. Let's see. Using Microsoft.agents.ai.workflows. Yeah, I'm guessing this. Maybe this is from a new. Let's try to add it real quick. So we'll say .NET add package source. Let's see, Microsoft.agents.ai.workflows. No. Pre-release. Look, there's 70 of you here now. 70 folks. Good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. What's this say? Oh, I think it's because I need to upgrade the other package too. I have a free day from work today, so I have nothing to do. I want rocks to put on my shelves. Ah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, they're decorative. I like it. Tyrion, why this lo-fi beat forced me to sleep? I don't know, man. Lo-fi will do that to you, though. Hold on, I gotta show you guys something real quick. You guys see this? I'd pick my dog up and show him to you, but he just looks so comfy. How comfy does that look? Makes me want to go back to bed. Which documentation is better among AWS, Azure, and Alibaba Cloud? So I've not used AWS much. I've used Azure the most, and I've never used Alibaba Cloud. I have used GCP. If I had to say who has the best documentation, I would probably say Azure, which is kind of crazy because Microsoft Docs historically are not the greatest. But like if I said Azure's docs are better than AWS's docs, it's not by much. But then again, it's hard. It's hard to write technical documentation for systems that are that complex. You know, I think honestly, Azure's GUI, like Azure's interface, is way better than AWS's interface. I find the AWS console to be very, very confusing. It's like the inside of a F-16, or what I imagine the inside of an F-16 feels like. There's just a lot going on, and half of it I never need or use. So I'm not sure about Alibaba though. I've never used any of their services. I guess Alibaba's all the rage right now in the AI space because they have a model, I guess, that's kind of taking the world by storm a little bit. Oh, I'm an idiot. The reason why it's not showing up is because that was a task. .NET run. I just want to see if this actually works, because that's super cool that they added that. Oh, I love that. I love that so much, because if you guys remember, I created a diagram for this. Where is it? I created a diagram for this app. Repositories. Also, what? I have a message? Oh, I have a security vulnerability I need to fix. Let's see if I can find it. Casper. Yeah, I've shown you guys this. This is how this whole thing started, was with the mermaid diagram. So now what we can do is we can actually update that from our application, which is awesome. So we'll say .NET Run. We'll set this to our clipboard. And then what we'll do is we'll open our README. And we'll go down here into our mermaid diagram. And we'll just delete it. No, dang it. That just overwrote my clipboard. Shit. What's up, Harry? How are you? Hello, bro. I started learning coding. I'm 21 years old and I'm starting with Python. Is it good to start with Python? Dude, it is. It's just good to start. Here, you've taken the first step, which is the most important. Is you just have to start. Blackosh, I think is how you say your name. Thanks for the subscription, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys that have subscribed this morning. Yeah, so Henry, or not Henry, Harry, sorry. Harry, don't worry so much about what language you picked. If you picked Python, go. Just the key is to start. Once you learn one language, you can learn whatever other language you want after that. So keep going, keep learning every day, keep getting better at Python, and then at some point, if you decide Python's not your jam and you want to learn a different language, you can go pick up a different language. I'm not going to derail you, though, from learning Python. I'm not a big Python guy, but the key is to pick one and start. Most people spend so much time just debating, should I learn this? Should I learn that? Should I do this? Should I do X, Y, Z, or the other thing? And it really doesn't matter. What matters is you start. If you do, Harry, if you do need some curriculum, hello, Alex. I like your emojis. Good morning. I'll emoji back at you. I'll emote at you. I'll emote right back at you. If you do need some help with like some structured learning, though, Harry, I would recommend you check out. If you're in the Python world, I would recommend, or if you're learning Python, I would recommend this. What is it? What is it? It's PY4E, right? I think. Yeah. PY4E. That's Python for Everybody. This is by a gentleman named Dr. Chuck. He's a super cool guy. He's a professor at Michigan, I think. Michigan University, or University of Michigan. He's taught Python to a lot of people. So that would be my recommendation there. And then if you get out of the Python ecosystem and you want to learn something different, I would point you at Free Code Camp. I love Free Code Camp. I owe a lot of my skill and ability to Free Code Camp. So at Harry, also Free Code Camp is a great curriculum. Inspire also, hey, how's the new schedule treating you? The schedule's good. I mean, it's a little bit of a grind just because it means you got to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and anything you do at 4 o'clock in the morning is a grind. But I've definitely enjoyed having longer streams, like the ability to do a 2 or 3 hour stream in the morning versus like a 1 hour stream in the middle of the day. I'm enjoying that a lot more, so I'm going to keep sticking to it. Now, I can't necessarily guarantee that there's not going to be other mornings like today where I wake up a little later than normal, but the plan is to just, if I'm here at the house, and I can get up early, I'm going to keep doing it early in the morning. How long should I... Oh, so hold on. I missed a few different messages here. I got distracted by Alex's emotes. Inspire recommends starting with C. That's fine. I personally wouldn't recommend starting with a low level language like that. I think it's disheartening at first, and the feedback loop is too slow to get you hooked. I think early on the key is to get rapid feedback really quickly, and I think Python's a good language for that. But doesn't mean you can't try C if that's what you want to do. How long should I have to go learning this learning stuff? I need a job. Actually, I'm a graphic designer and doing good, but this AI thing scared me. Also, I have some dream projects. Well, Harry, you got a lot of shit going on in that one sentence, man. Learning, if you're gonna be in technology, learning never stops, right? So if you're gonna work in tech, you're always gonna be learning. That's the nature of the beast. If you need a job, that has far less to do with learning and far more to do with just sheer persistence and enthusiasm. But then also you say, I need a job, but then in the next sentence you say you're a graphic designer and you're doing good. So I'm a little confused why you need a job if you already have a skill and you're earning money. I wouldn't be if you're learning to code because you think AI is coming for you. I don't think that's a concern you need to have. If you're learning to code because you want to build some of your own projects, I think that's a great reason to learn. So there was a lot in that message, Harry. Shib, thanks for the idea for note-to-note references like Obsidian or Reflect. Yeah, I think every note should have that. Like, that just seems like every notes app should have the ability to reference notes. I Love Lamp is back, and he fixed his audio, so that's great. Inspire, awesome, good. I'm glad you're enjoying. I'm glad you're enjoying a shower after a rainy night. that's kind of a almost bordering on a TMI on the internet stream, but on a stream on the internet. But hey, you do you. I'm sick now. Well, that sucks. I'm sorry you're sick. But yeah, going back to the schedule thing, the schedule thing is working out really well. So I'm gonna keep doing this. Like the other really nice thing about streaming early in the morning like this is there's really no reason I can't do it because everyone else is asleep, right? So like there's really nothing else that I should or need to be doing at this point of the day, you know? Versus like in the middle of the day, I have to be working, and then in the evenings I should be attending to my family, right? I should be available to my family, but early in the mornings is almost always free time. Grow Thoughts, thanks for subscribing. Appreciate it. What's the name of the Python site again? It's py4e. So https py4e. Or just Google Python for everybody. And Google will get you there. Google will get you to where you need to be. Crap. I did it again. Hey, Opie. Knock that off. Oh no, we're down to 38 viewers. But I know that because I have the viewer count in the terminal now. Okay. So there's our this is cool because this is actually the diagram, or this is the state. This is a diagram of our flowchart of our application state. So technically, as part of like our build process, we could probably have our application emit this so that whenever I make changes to the application, the diagram just stays in sync with my source code, which would be cool. So what does this look like if I preview it? Does this not work? What? Why doesn't this work? Have I done something wrong? Mermaid viewer. It doesn't like whatever this is whatever is being emitted here. It does not like it. But I don't know why. Let's ask Gemini. I'm not super familiar with mermaid diagrams. Other than that, you can write them. Let's ask Gemini what's wrong with it. What is wrong with this mermaid diagram? I think it has something to do with it has something to do with these. I'm not sure if that's not a supported functionality or what. The syntax for your labeled dashed arrow is incorrect. You're using dot text dot, which should be dot. The extra hyphen is causing the parsing issue. Oh, interesting. So should we go? We should go see if that's a bug on the agent framework, if that's actually true. If Gemini didn't lie to me. You think Gemini lied to me? There we go. Gemini did not lie. Okay, cool. We've got a mermaid diagram. So this, if you're wondering what my application does, this is what my application does. The user starts the application, the interviewer asks the user questions, then the interviewer passes to the researcher. Although I'm not sure. Oh yeah, this is conditional. So if the interviewer has enough information, then it passes to the researcher. Then the researcher passes its research to the writer. The writer then passes its blog post output to the editor. And if the editor has feedback, it goes back to the writer, or it proceeds on to the critic. And if the critic has feedback, then it comes back to the writer. Otherwise, it exits. That is very cool. That's like, did they need to put this in there? No, but am I glad they put it in there? Yes. Let's see. Needs more info. Has enough info. Has feedback. Has no feedback. Has feedback. Cool. Might have to come up with a way to emit that as part of the build at some point. a noob. Do you get enough sleep? Yeah, I think so. I think last night I was probably cutting it a little short. I think last night I went to bed at like midnight, and then I got up at 4:45. So that's probably a little not enough. But most nights I go to bed. I've been going to bed at like 10 o'clock or so, and then get up at 4. So that's 6 hours of sleep. That's pretty normal. That I mean, historically I've always had far less than that. I've always been somebody who tries to stay up way too late and then get up way too early. That's just always been a thing that I've done, for better or worse. If I complete the free Code Camp course, that means now I have proof that I know Python well. Am I right? Or still have to prove it by building something crazy out of my skill? Oh no, a piece of paper, yeah, a piece of paper doesn't mean anything, Harry. Like you're gonna have to demonstrate that you can do stuff, especially in today's world. Most interviews involve some sort of code related assessment anyways, so you might as well spend some time practicing the skills you learn, because that's what you're going to have to do if you want to work as a developer or somebody who writes code as part of their job. You're going to have to actually do it. You can't just point to a piece of paper and say, "No, I swear I know how to code." You know, so yeah, you do the free code camp curriculum so that you can learn the skill. Then you go practice the skill a lot. Talk about TMI. All right, calming. Sounds good. Hey, what's up, Artwork Studio? Good to see you, man. My bat's low, so I don't know if I can stay long. No worries. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in and saying hi. Appreciate you. Tyler, what are you working on? We're still working on that same application, Tyler. I did give a little bit of a demo earlier, Tyler, of the thing we started working on yesterday, the viewer count in the terminal. I finished that last night off stream, so I gave a little demo of that when I started streaming. But for the most part, we're just working on that same application that we've been working on. I got kind of distracted because I was looking at the source code for the Microsoft Agent Framework. I got distracted, okay? I got distracted because I was looking at the source for some of the code that I'm using, this library that I'm using, and I got distracted by some of the methods. But what we're trying to do at this point, excuse me, what we're trying to do at this point is we're trying to make sure that our workflow is wired together correctly. So I'm trying to look through how these guys have written their tests to figure it out. Are you scared of AI because the level of the development it is doing is just mind-boggling? What do you think it will replace? So many designing works and video editing things. Please share your perspective. So you're new here, Harry. So you must not have heard me rail too much about AI. So my position on AI is I'm in the middle. I think generative AI is very cool. I think large language models are a very interesting piece of technology that allow us to write programs that 5 years ago or 4 years ago when I started learning to code, I wouldn't have known where to start to write that kind of program without an LLM. So I think large language models are a very cool piece of technology. They're very useful. They have their applications. I use AI products. I pay for Gemini. I pay for Copilot. However, I do not believe AI is going to take everyone's job. I don't think large language models are the end all be all of AI. Like I think the sheer fact that OpenAI is now building a video application, a generative video application like Sora, or working on Atlas, a browser, or talking about allowing people to build sex bots on their platform, I think all of that is a pure admission that we are a far ways away from AGI, right? Because if you were really close to introducing AGI to the world, you would not be worried about all those things because AGI would make all those things obsolete and unnecessary immediately. Um, so I think a lot of the hype of AI is overblown. I think a lot of the hype that's in AI right now is driven by the fact that there's a lot of people who have invested billions and billions of dollars into it, like huge swaths of their net worths and their companies' uh, financial resources into this technology, into the companies building this technology, and they need to make sure it's successful. Like it's existential. It's existential. It's life threatening to them at this point, right? Financially. So I'm somewhere in the middle. I think it's a very cool piece of technology, but I'm not at all worried about it disrupting everyone's well-being. Also, a Discord bot called Probot got hacked. Check DMs if you want to see the proof of it. I'm not worried about it. AZ anything. Do you use Gen AI? Oh, for sure. Yeah, I use Copilot. Um, I use Gemini. I pay for both those services. I've used Anthropic quite a bit. I've used their API quite a bit. Quite a bit. I haven't done much with OpenAI services. You know, like I've used ChatGPT, but I've used OpenAI's API a handful of times, but um, far less than the other providers. So I do use Gen AI. It's just I don't. I'm just not an AI Twitter bro. I'm not the guy that's running around being like, "You should not learn to code, and coding's useless, and software engineers are wasting their time." And I think it's dumb. Hey, Steven, you seem tired. No, I feel good. I woke up a little later today, but did you get enough sleep? How many hours did you sleep? I slept like 6 hours, 5 hours. Yeah, about 6 hours. Steven, you haven't snorted your caffeine dose yet? Yeah, I've only had one shot of espresso at this point, so I do need to refill the coffee cup. Do you generate code though, like full files? No, I don't do much vibe coding. Yeah. I mean, I might use Gemini. Like I might go to Gemini sometimes or even Copilot. Sometimes I'll go to Copilot. It just depends on what I'm doing. And I might come in here and I might say like, I don't know. I'd like to display, for example, like what we did yesterday. If I was really unclear about how to do it, I might come in here and say, I'd like to display the viewer count as part of my terminal prompt. How would you implement this in like C sharp, right, or JavaScript or type? Like I might do that and have it generate a bunch of code that I can read and sort of riff on and take ideas from. Almost use it like a coworker, like another person that I can talk to that knows about code and knows how to code. But um, I don't really use like what is it, the agent mode in here. I don't really use this to do things. Like I might say like well, like here, this is like you can see the last conversation I had in here. So I might ask it to like make edits, right? Like don't do this type of thing. But I'm not a big vibe coder. I find vibe coding, happy forever, thanks for subscribing. I find vibe coding kind of steals a lot of the fun that I have from coding. Um, you know, part of the fun of writing code is like digging into a problem and thinking through it and exploring it and coming up with the way you want to organize and architect your code. Like the process, right? The process is part of the fun. And I find vibe coding robs me of a lot of that process. Now, if you're somebody who could give two shits about the process, you just want to get to some working piece of functionality, then I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. It's just not. It just hasn't been for me. The last time I slept 5 to 6 hours, I felt like the world was spinning. Yeah, I don't. That's just historically been part of my life. I'm both an early bird and a night owl. That's just for all my life. I've kind of been that way. My mom needs an AI for fan. What are you talking about, Lamp? I have no idea what fanfix is, but it's just it's just on the border of like, does that mean what I think it means? And then let's see, could you send your terminal config stuff because I want to test yours since I like your terminal config, including your terminal prompt. Oh, yeah, you can. It's on my GitHub. Well, actually, it's on my gist. Let's see. So this is my I love lamp. This is my Oh-My-Posh config. And then this is generally my PowerShell profile. These might be a little outdated, but that's basically everything I use. I can't stop yawning. You guys are making me yawn. I'm gonna blame you guys. For me, I will write the base of the code, then when it doesn't work, I'll plug it into AI and ask it to fix it and do it in my style so I'd be able to understand it better. That's not bad, yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with using AI. Nothing wrong at all. Okay, cool. Thanks for explaining. I'm a big fan of Claude Code. Nice, yeah. So I haven't used Claude Code, but I've used the Gemini CLI and I've used Copilot CLI. But yeah, I don't get a lot. I don't think I get like as much value out of them because I don't just turn them loose on a directory, right? And like, hey Claude, hey Gemini, just produce me a whole application. I don't really do things like that. But for those people who are out there vibe coding their lives away, man, I say if that's the way you want to build, do it. Eric, you also lose the critical thinking to solve a problem if you use it too much. My self-taught journey has been majorly slowed because of AI because I started using it wrong. Ah, that's interesting. I wondered if that was the case. It's a thought I've shared and advice I've given a few times on stream. Like, I don't think if you're early on in your journey of learning to code, I don't think you should be using AI as much, or at least not using the AI tab complete as much, because I think you really do want those reps on the keyboard. So it's interesting to hear somebody say that they have actually noticed AI negatively impact their learning journey. It's unfortunate because when I was learning, I did. Let's see, that would have been 2021, and ChatGPT, what came out like that? When did ChatGPT come out? Like it just wasn't a thing when I was learning to code. ChatGPT wasn't ChatGPT release date. I think it was in 2022. So this would have been like a year and a half after I started learning to code seriously that it came out. So it just wasn't a thing I had to contend with, right? I did I did it the old-fashioned way with Stack Overflow. I love LAMP. What about the viewer count thing? Oh, you mean um the script that I wrote for this thing right here? Is that what you're talking about? Tyrion, hey buddy, good to see you. I'll need to go. Have a good day. Yeah, you too, Tyrion. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you. Networks or Artwork Studios a little outdated. Super deprecated. Yeah, true that. I recommend teaching the AI your style, then it can generate the code with your patterns and you can learn through the teaching. Huh. Yeah. I mean, I don't discount what you're saying, AZ, anything about using instructions, like I think Copilot has settled on instructions.md as the kind of canonical way to pass instructions to Copilot. I think Cursor has like cursor rules. So I don't doubt that you can get good results with prompting. Like that's a thing you can do with LLMs, right? You can you can take you can give LLM tokens to get better tokens out. I just do the question is, do you want to spend your day writing instructions for LLMs, or do you want to spend your day writing code and solving problems, or do you want to spend your day writing text for an LLM to write the code and solve your problems? And for me, the latter is far less enjoyable and far less interesting. Like I don't if somebody said like if somebody was like, "Hey Steven, you can't write code manually anymore. You have to prompt your way to do everything." I'd probably just go lift weights more and not write code as much because it wouldn't interest me the same way. I don't mind how I spend my day as long as I get paid. Yeah. I mean that's fair. I mean that's fair. I mean I mainly write code. I mainly stream because I just enjoy it, you know. I have yet to be paid by YouTube. Uh Now if my boss says, "Hey, I mean, even at my job, if my boss came to me at my job and was like, "Hey, you can never write a single line of code manually again. You have to just prompt LLMs to write all your code." I'd probably look at getting a different role, honestly. Like I would just I'd be like, "Okay, I'll do this until I can slide to a different spot in the company because I don't want to spend my day talking to LLMs all day, every day." I feel like for all the use cases I can think of, I would just use some ML instead of an AI agent. How do you see using agents useful? Eric, so I think machine learning would be difficult to accomplish a lot of what people are using agents for. Um, a lot of what people are using agents for is more about trying to make your usage of LLMs more deterministic, right? So it's like I want the LLM to read a file. I want an LLM to write a file. I want the LLM to be able to take actions in the world, but I want to be able to count that it's going to do the action the right way, right? So that the LLM, all the LLM does in this scenario, in the agent scenario, is the LLM just provides input to some code that somebody else wrote. 9 times out of 10. I know that some of the model providers now allow for like arbitrary code execution where the model can generate the code and then run the code. But in 99% of cases, it's you know, here's a tool to read a file from disk. Here are the parameters you need to supply, and then the LLM generates the parameters and then passes that to the user's code, and the deterministic code runs it. So I think agents are about trying to give the LLM the ability to orchestrate things, to take action on things. It's basically trying to leverage the model's ability to semantically understand natural language to figure out how to compose a set of tools or a set of functions to do things. So I think they can be useful. I think you'd be hard pressed though to accomplish what people are doing with agents just using straight up machine learning. Artwork shoes. Well, technically Val paid you. Yes, technically Val did pay me, but I have yet to see any of that money. I don't know when YouTube pays out their cash, but At this point, I have yet to receive a check from YouTube. Now, at some point, I should receive a check from YouTube, but I have yet to at this point. So, how do I add the PowerShell profile as a profile on my Windows machine? Um, there should be an environment variable. I think it's, no, that's the actual content of the profile. What is it? There's a path. Basically, PowerShell looks in a very specific place for your profile. Let's see. And so you just have to put it there. Let's see, PowerShell, find profile path. I forget how to get it. Let's see, $ profile. Oh, it would help if I just didn't cat it out. So let's see, $ echo $ profile. There we go. So in my case, PowerShell is looking for a profile here. So if you open up PowerShell and you do echo $ profile, that should tell you the path that PowerShell is looking for. Like, here's where we expect your profile to be. And then you just need to make sure that you put the profile there, basically. If your boss forced you to code with AI, that's a stupid boss. If he was smart, he'd generate it himself. Good point. Good point. It's interesting that Steven will professionalize chat. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I just think of things through that lens of like, what would I do in my own life? You know, if I was forced, you know, like if somebody says, hey, you can't use Visual Studio anymore, you have to use Cursor, or you can't use VS Code anymore, you can't use NeoVim, you have to use Cursor. I think obviously I need to feed my family and pay my bills, so I would keep doing the job, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't try to make the job that I want. You know what I mean? Like your life is your life, right? And your life is what you make it. And so if you don't like something about your life, then you have agency to change it. So if professionally I have to become a vibe coder, then I'm probably going to change careers. Which I'm not. It's funny because a lot of people, like a lot of developers and software engineers right now, are kind of running around with their heads cut off because they're like, oh my god, what are you gonna do? AI is coming for us all. People are gonna try to replace us with AI. Yeah, and like I didn't start in software. My career wasn't in technology. I never thought I would work as a developer or work as an engineer. So like if AI comes and takes my job, that's totally fine. I'll just go get a different job, like I've done for the last 15, 16 years, 17 years of my life. I just, you know, you adapt, you change, you learn new skills, you find the next thing. I've gotten so distracted. I love LAMP. See, shows when I do echo profile, but when I go on Explorer into the path, the last folder is not shown. Well, just make it. Just make it. If Windows PowerShell is not there, just make it and then stick the file in there. And the folder doesn't. Yeah, I mean, it may not exist. That's the whole point. It may not exist, but that's where PowerShell's looking for it. So you just make the folder, create the file, and put the profile in there. Power tools didn't take construction workers' jobs. It made them more productive, and less of those were needed. That's all. Yeah, true. But like, if I was one of those construction workers, you have a choice, right? Like you, it's funny because it's like well, you have a choice then. Do you just lay down and quit life because tools made your job not necessary or made less of your job necessary? Or do like you be a grown ass adult and say, okay, well, I guess I can't work as a construction worker anymore. Let me go do something else. But like, I just, this whole thing of this whole like existential dread that is running through the tech ecosystem right now about AI taking jobs and like ruining and putting people out of work. I'm just like, guys, they're trying to make you feel that way because business people for the first time in the history of technology feel like they have leverage over the skilled worker. It's like that. That's what's happening. For the first time, the business people feel like they have a way to get leverage over software engineers, and they want you to feel it. But like as the technical people in the field, you should not be this concerned. And as human beings, your response should be, okay, fine, replace my job. That's fine. I'll just go get a different job, right? Like most engineers, most developers are very smart, very intelligent human beings. They can apply that intelligence to anything and be successful, right? It doesn't have to be the thing that this thing. I love lamp. I will not be able to. I don't know if you think that I'll be able to help you troubleshoot how to set up your profile, your PowerShell profile, but I will. I won't be able to help you in chat. I'm sorry I got the certification error, but I recommend you Google the error or Chat GPT the error or something, but I won't be able to troubleshoot it with you while I'm streaming. I don't even remember what I was doing. I think what I was trying to do was I was trying to look at how the agent framework tested their workflow. For me, I'm lucky because if I can't be a coder, I'll be an artist. If I can't be an artist, I'll be a composer. One good thing about being a jack of all trades ain't. All right, guys. Yeah. Yeah, I agree, man. I think that's the good thing about being a human being. If you're a human being, you have the ability to, for infinite capacity, to learn and change and adapt. Like we have these big old brains with these big old frontal lobes. Arvin, I have to log off. Bye, everyone. See you, Arvin. Sorry about making you wait this morning, but thanks for hanging out with me on stream. I appreciate you. Okay, here's a good example. This says build sequential. Agents run in order. So it looks like they have a helper method here. And what does this helper do? So it looks like this helper takes in a workflow. What is execution environment? Workflow execution environment. I don't know what this is. And then they're just streaming it out. And then they're collecting all the update events. Okay. So there's nothing magical. I just need to run. I just have to run the workflow and uh, collect all the events. I wonder how they handle user input, because my workflow involves user input. Huh. Eric, I may have missed it. What are you working on? We're working on building this. Let me see. Let me see if I can get it for you. 39 viewers. I this is probably one of my most, I mean, this is the smallest, simplest little things, but this is probably one of the most fun things that I've built recently. Is having my live viewer count in my terminal. That is a blast. Okay, so you asked what am I working on? So I am working on this guy. Okay, so the idea behind this application is the inspiration for this application was Microsoft released a library called Microsoft Agent Framework. The idea behind this framework is to allow you to more easily integrate generative AI into your applications. And so, in order to learn something, I often find I learn best when I build a project. So, we came up with this project called Casper. And basically, Casper's job is to act as like my ghostwriter, essentially, hence the name Casper. And so, what it does is it takes in user input. It then figures out if it has enough information to like proceed, right? So imagine you hired a ghostwriter. That ghostwriter would sort of interview you, right? They would ask you questions, try to extract from you ideas and distill those ideas and thoughts. Then that ghostwriter would likely do some amount of research to make sure that the things that you said are accurate or correct or have, a solid foundation. Then that ghostwriter would actually sit down and take your thoughts and your ideas and actually put them in like a well-structured piece of writing, right? So you can imagine people use ghostwriters for books, people use ghostwriters for articles, they all over the place. And then you're gonna want that blog to be edited and critiqued. And so each one of these like blocks represents an agent, which an agent is really just a way to organize usage. It's more of an architectural pattern than anything. And so what my app does is it basically goes through all these steps, and at the end of the day, it produces a blog post. So it's not an AI slop generator, because I'm not just going to take the blog post and post it, but it solves the blank page problem. It takes me from 0 to 1, right? So I have an idea that's like 3 sentences, and Casper's job is to flush that out to like 4 or 5 paragraphs that I can then whittle or expand on or revise as I see fit. So that's what we've been working on. Oh, that's sick. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Also, not done yet, but that's why you called it Casper. Yes, that's why we called it Casper, was because it's my own personal ghostwriter. And you know, Casper the ghost, that's one of the most famous ghosts. So that's why we called it that. What nerd font do you use for icons? I use Cascadia Cove. So that's my also, I should also note that Casper, this Casper project, the last day I'm going to work on it is going to be October 31st. And then hopefully by December 1st, I'll feel much more confident and capable. So Casper right now will take us to the end of October with, you know, the smorgasbord of things that I normally do on stream. And then starting November, I'm going to pretend to be a Go developer for a month or two. Sorry, I love lamp. My nerd font is Cascade. I think it's Cascadia Cove. Nerd font. Cascade. This one. This is the one I use. I've had people try to get me to use other ones, and I've tried other nerd fonts, and so far nothing has stuck. I bet I'm kind of paralyzed because I don't really know what. I'm not really sure how to do this. So I think I think I just need to jump in and I just need to try. Just need to try some stuff. Okay. So first things first. First things first, right? So we are going to have a bunch of read-only classes. So we'll have a bunch of mocks. AI agent. No, not AI agent. This will be a well, I guess these aren't really mocks, are they? These are actual things. So we're gonna have actual interviewer, right? Like this. Because our system under test is going to be the workflow factory. System under test. And this requires that I have all of the dependencies. So if we do system under test equals new, this is going to complain because we need to new up all of these guys. Researcher, writer, editor, critic. After I install a nerd font, the terminal icons still don't work. What do I do? It works. Yeah, it should work. You install the font and then make sure you set the font as your you make sure your terminal's actually using that font to render, right? Whatever's in the terminal. Gotta go hit some reps for my morning learning ritual. Then get to work. Great talking with you this morning. Catch you later. Yeah, see you, Eric. Thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate you. I'm gonna be going anyways here pretty soon pretty soon too. It's almost 7. So I'll be headed upstairs to get ready for work and checking on the family. I use default terminal. I'm a masochist. Yeah, man, I can't do it. I want my terminal to feel like me, you know? Mock AI agent. let's see. How should I do this? I mean, I think basically what I can do is I can basically do new mock agent like that, and I can just repeat that, I think, for every, was that 1, 2, 3, I think it's 5 of them. Cannot convert from, oh, yeah, this needs to be object. Oh, and I need a file system. Private, read only, mock, I file system. Guys, I really, if you're watching this, I really don't know if this is the best way to go about writing these particular integration tests, but this is the first time I'm doing it, so I'm just trying to feel it out. What is the right way to do this? I don't know. Okay, so let me just explain my thinking more for me than anybody else. So the idea here is the thing I want to test about my workflows, I essentially want to test that data gets routed to the right place according to the way I've wired my workflow up, right? So if we're looking at my diagram that I showed earlier, the thing that I'm trying to test is I'm trying to test that when the interviewer says it needs more info, I want to make sure that my workflow routes back to my user, right? Or if my interviewer node in my workflow says it has enough information, I want to make sure that it routes to my researcher. That's what I'm trying to test, is that basically the routing logic that I've set up as part of my workflow. And so my idea here is that I'm going to pass in the mock agent so that I can control the LLM. Does that make sense? Do I need to do that? I don't think I need to do that now that I'm thinking about it. Thanks to Gemini, I fixed the errors, and now I'm installing PowerShell 7 since that's how to fix 3 errors. Yeah, PowerShell. So if you are using PowerShell, I don't recommend you use Windows PowerShell. I recommend you use PowerShell 7. The cross-platform version of PowerShell is the PowerShell you want to use. Which is kind of confusing, because why are there 2 PowerShells? I don't know. Why are there 2 .NETs? Or why was there 2 .NETs? I don't know. Microsoft sometimes does stupid things. Okay, so I'm kind of walking back my thinking here. So the question is, how do I test that my workflow routes things correctly? Well, I need to make sure that, like in this example, I need to make sure that my interviewer returns a question, right? Yeah. Or I need to make sure my interviewer receives a question. I don't have no idea what I'm doing. I'm literally just staring at this and I'm trying to think what So this is how I run my workflow. This is what Rishab, thanks for the subscription, man. I appreciate you. So this is how I run my workflow in my app. So I think I need to do something like this as part of my tests. Right? So I basically need to say, hey, run my workflow, use in-process execution, run my workflow, give it a starting point, and then I need to let it go. Well, I'm not going to finish this. I'm not going to figure this out now because it's 7. I got to go get ready for work, but okay. Let me write a note here with my thinking. With where it sits right now. To do. Figure this the fuck out. That's my to do. Also, how do I keep the appearance color Campbell? I think it's just in your settings. If you're using Windows Terminal, you just go to, also if you're new here, I'm keeping track that you're here in my terminal now. I've pointed that out like 10 times this stream because I think it's the coolest thing I've built in a while. Let's see, settings. Settings, and then it's just appearance, I think, right? Yeah, there should just be a, you can set it here, or you can also set it on the individual profiles. The individual profiles also have appearance settings on them. That should get you to where you need to go. Yeah, so to do, figure this the fuck out. Or, more elegantly put, need to basically run the workflow and have it simulate receiving specific messages, then validate that the right events have occurred, and in the expected order. I think that's basically what I need to do. So I need to run the workflow, but I need to control what events or what messages are passed within the workflow, and I need to run the workflow all the way to completion, and then I need to make sure that the right things happened. Right? I need to make sure that there's feedback, then it went to the editor, and if there wasn't feedback, it went to the critic, and so on and so forth. Full disclosure, I'm probably going to work on this evening, so when I come back tomorrow, hopefully I'll have some progress to share on this. But unfortunately, it's 7:03, and I must go say good morning to my family and drink more coffee and get ready for work. Crazy how I'm living 25 hours in the future compared to Steven. It is crazy. You're time traveling, man. You're literally time traveling. I guess we're both time traveling. You've time traveled to the future, and I've time traveled to the past. Yeah, time zones are weird. One of my favorite podcasts is called The Daily by the New York Times. I've been listening to The Daily. Let's see, The Daily first publish date. Yeah. I have listened to just about every episode of The Daily. I've been listening it since episode 1, but this is one of my favorite podcasts. And it's really interesting because one of the ways that they are able to produce this show is they use time zones to arbitrage the production. So like their sound people or their editors, or at least one of their editors is based in the UK. So like it's kind of interesting that they are able to delay the production of the podcast but still get it out on time because of the difference in time zones between the United States and the East Coast and the time zone that the UK is in, which I think is kind of crazy that people arbitrage that for operational purposes. All right, guys, I'm going to call it. I apologize that I woke up a little later today, so we didn't get started till about 4:45 or 5 o'clock, I think. So that's my bad. Hopefully tomorrow that won't be an issue. Shouldn't be an issue. I will throw up, in case you guys are interested in how I did this, the viewer count thing. Just in case anyone's interested, I'll throw up the code that I'm using for this in GitHub along with the Oh-My-Posh segment configuration. I'll put that on GitHub in a repo and share it. If you're interested in finding us outside of stream, so if you're newer here and you want to interact with me or chat outside of the stream, you can go to discord.stephenfreeborn.com. That's the best place to find us away from the YouTubes. Otherwise, just general housekeeping things. I'm usually live almost every day from at 4:15 a.m. and then I usually stream on weekdays till about 7, and then on weekends I'll usually go till like 8ish, 8:30, just whenever it makes sense on the weekend mornings. I do make shorts, I do make videos, but I try to stream every day because that's what's kind of helping my channel grow the most. And I get to interact with you guys the most that way. So yeah, come back. If you see me live, stop in. Obviously, no pressure. But if you had a good time this morning, come back. You're always welcome. Unless you're an asshole, then you're not so much welcome. But I'll let you know if that's the case. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Tuesday. If it's Tuesday for you, if it's Wednesday for you, like Artwork Studios, have a great rest of your Wednesday. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, y'all. Bye, chat. Bye. See you, Artwork Studios. Bye, Love Lamp. I think Eric's already gone. Anybody else that's still here? See you guys. Bye. Bye, chat.